ladies and gentlemen, as you may be aware, a protracted and highly intense conflict is currently unfolding in the Amhara region of Ethiopia, pitting the Ethiopian National Defense Forces, ENDF, against the Amhara Fano forces. This protracted and multifaceted conflict has been marked by a series of significant developments, and we have received the most up-to-date information from the front lines, which I will delve into at length in this video. As of the most recent reports, the battleground across many areas of South Gonder remains engulfed in intense, unrelenting fighting. The situation has reached a critical point, with local residents testifying to the constant reverberation of heavy weaponry, creating an atmosphere of constant fear and insecurity. In particular, the regions of Arabia, Dagoma, and Beleza in Gonder have become epicenters of sustained fierce clashes between the ENDF and Amhara Fano forces. Notably, the Amhara Fano fighters have faced formidable opposition, with a substantial presence of ENDF soldiers in these contested areas. The version of events from the ENDF portrays their force as being highly fortified in Gonder and Bahir, boasting significant numbers of well-armed personnel. According to ENDF sources, they have successfully thwarted every attempt by the Amhara Fano forces to gain entry into Gonder, adding that recent engagements have resulted in a significant number of casualties among the Amhara Fano fighters. Reports confirm that the intensity of the fighting persists, especially in South Gonder, with the areas of Arabia, Dagoma, and Beleza experiencing continuous hostilities. The conflict shows no signs of abating, and the toll on the local population continues to escalate. In a deeply disturbing and distressing turn of events, reports have emerged of a 16-year-old Amhara girl from Western Dembia in Gonder losing her life after a horrific incident of sexual assault by Oromo ENDF soldiers loyal to Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. This heinous incident underscores the profound and far-reaching human rights violations occurring amidst this conflict, demanding immediate attention and condemnation. Adding to the anguish, the Ethiopian government has reportedly carried out 2 drone attacks in the Berehe Warida area of North Shoa, Amhara region, leading to the tragic loss of 10 lives and injuring 7 innocent Amhara individuals. These drone attacks have inflicted a heavy toll on the region, resulting in the untimely deaths of numerous innocent civilians and prompting widespread fear and mass displacement. In the face of the ongoing threat posed by heavy artillery shelling and drone strikes, farmers, women, and children are compelled to abandon their homes and villages, leaving behind lives shattered by violence and turmoil. Apart from this, in April 2018, the world witnessed the emergence of a new African leader who, at the time, was often compared to the charismatic and inspirational Barack Obama. With a captivating rhetoric that emphasized justice, freedom, and equality, he quickly won the hearts and minds of his countrymen and garnered significant international attention. The media was abuzz with excitement, and I, like many others, was filled with hope and optimism about the transformative potential this new leader seemed to possess. However, as time unfolded, the rosy image began to fade and disillusionment set in. Behind the veneer of charm and lofty promises, it became evident that this leader was, in fact, a deceitful and dishonest politician. This revelation was nothing short of a bitter disappointment for the nation and the global community. The disillusionment was only intensified by the fact that he had received the prestigious Nobel Peace Prize in 2019, which now appeared to be nothing more than a facade, a glaring misjudgment on the part of the Nobel Committee. What transpired next was even more disheartening. The leader who had once pledged justice and equality initiated a devastating war in northern Ethiopia. This conflict led to the widespread suffering of innocent civilians, with countless lives lost to the ravages of war, hunger, and the absence of proper medical care. Shockingly, this leader was also implicated in the theft of essential food aid meant for the starving and vulnerable population. The country that had initially pinned its hopes on him was rapidly spiraling into the depths of corruption and authoritarianism, giving rise to the ominous specter of a kleptocracy. A kleptocracy is a form of governance in which those in power exploit their positions for personal gain, often through illicit and corrupt means, all at the expense of their own people. The principles of transparency, accountability, and integrity are cast aside as corruption, bribery, and other illegal activities become the norm. In such a system, there are no effective checks and balances, and the ruling elite evade any semblance of accountability. Kleptocrats, like this leader, seize public resources, award government contracts to their cronies, and completely disregard the pressing needs of their nation. To maintain their grip on power, they suppress political opposition, muzzle the media, and curtail civil liberties. This tyranny extends beyond their borders as well, as they funnel stolen wealth abroad, undermining international efforts to combat corruption. The situation in Ethiopia under this leader, Abiy Ahmed, is deeply troubling and disheartening. Even though he was warned about escalating tensions with the TPLF, he chose to ignore the advice, setting in motion a devastating conflict. Regrettably, this resulted in the loss of countless lives, with researchers estimating up to 600,000 deaths, many of which were attributed to the violence of war, famine, and a lack of adequate medical care. This crisis has left more than 20 million people adversely affected, with women and children bearing the brunt of the suffering, as is often the case in such tragic situations. The conflict has forcibly displaced a staggering 5.5 million people, leaving them in dire straits. What makes this scenario even more heartbreaking is that international aid, meant to alleviate the suffering of the Ethiopian people, has been compromised. After the Washington Post exposed the theft of food aid, major humanitarian organizations such as USAID and UNFP were forced to suspend their food assistance programs, thereby further intensifying the hardships of those in dire need. Abiy Ahmed, once hailed as Africa's answer to Barack Obama, has now come to symbolize the very corruption and moral decay that he once pledged to eradicate. His actions and leadership have inflicted immense harm on Ethiopia and its people, leading the nation down a perilous path fraught with human rights abuses, disregard for the welfare of the vulnerable, and a penchant for extravagant projects that displace impoverished families and expose the cruelty of his regime. In short, the rise and fall of Abiy Ahmed serves as a sobering reminder of the need for vigilance and skepticism when assessing political leaders, even those who initially appear to be messianic figures.